If you have ever wondered what $2.8 million can get you in the city of Ventura, then you're going to want to stick around and watch this video. I'm going to take you on a little tour of a home here in the Pierpont neighborhood, actually over on Dover Lane. And it is a very pretty home. I'm excited to show you that later. But as we're kind of getting off the 101 freeway here at the seaward exit, we're going to turn to the south and go cruise through the Pierpont neighborhood first. A couple of interesting things happening over here. In this part of town, we have an interim fire station that's actually going in over to the right. Fire station number 7, that will help service this neighborhood and this community. They have already begun clearing the space of land where that's going to go, and that will be nice. That'll be nice to have additional services here for the Pierpont neighborhood. Now, the Pierpont lanes, if you're not familiar, there are a total of 28 lanes. Some of them actually back in the day were alleys that were eventually converted to lanes that now have homes on them. So little known fact about Pierpont. When I have buyers that are looking for, you know, a part of Ventura or a part of Ventura County that has a really strong sense of community, I always recommend Pierpont. It's a place where neighbors, you know, they're still saying hi to each other. They're waving at each other. They're getting together for parties. Different lanes have different annual activities. Nathan Lane, for example, they have an annual water gun fight on the 4th of July. So all the neighbors on that street will come out and throw water balloons at each other with super soakers and have a really nice time. So that's a special, you know, unique thing that kind of happens here in this neighborhood. There's a controversial development project that was recently approved. We're going to drive past that here in just a sec. And it's about, I think it's a total of 97 for sale condos that will be built here. It's on a big vacant lot right at the corner of Seaward and Harbor. This thing's been vacant since I can remember, since I was a kid. And it's gone through different stages in its life. This piece of dirt, you know, there were some homeless there at one point. There's some what looked like illegal activity happening, weeds that were over, you know, 6 foot high. But now the person that owns it, they have final approval to go and build these 97 condos. It's going to be a blend of 3-story townhomes that are side by side and some single level condos that'll be serviced by elevators. So I think that's a nice kind of unit mix. There's also going to be some commercial involved in this project, so they'll have coffee shops down below. There's a small park. They had to incorporate public parking since it's so near to the beach. They wanted people that are just here to visit to also have a place to park. So this is this big vacant lot up on the right. You can see that chain link fence right now to the right of this signal. When that will actually get built, I don't know. The developer has an ongoing project right now in a different part of town, so I'm wondering if maybe he wants that to be sold out or leased out before he begins on this. You can kind of see to the right of the frame there. Before we go over to Dover Lane and I show you this house, actually, I want to kind of just take you down here to the end of South Seaward. When people think of Ventura and coming to Ventura for the beach, or they're coming up from Los Angeles or down from the Bay Area, this is usually kind of what they picture in their head. If I were to ask somebody to describe, you know, when they're thinking of Ventura, what are they thinking about? This little stretch right here is it. You can see they've got the American flags up this time of year. They normally have these up from Memorial Day through Labor Day. That's kind of cool. Check that out. They've got the city pumping truck here. I wonder if they're pumping out these public restrooms that are right here. Anyways, a lot of people come down, you know, they'll check out the Inn on the Beach Hotel, or they'll just come out, try and look at the surf. You can see here, Tower 6, Anacapa Island out there. We're still dealing with a little bit of May gray, June gloom. It's just a natural weather pattern that we have this time of year in the spring, where you're going to see things be a little bit more overcast. The sun will typically break out later on in the afternoon. There's some cool little shops. You have Social Tap, Surf and Yogurt up here on the corner, Juice Swell, Duke's, which is a great place for a burger or a club sandwich if you're looking for a lunch spot. Surf Liquor right here on the corner. Here's that vacant lot now on the left-hand side of the screen that you can see. Check this out. Mom walking with her kid. I see some other people saying hi, chatting with each other here on the corner. It's just kind of a mellow, relaxed vibe. Now, this is not the cheapest neighborhood in Ventura, not by a long stretch. You know, average sales price closer to $2 million as compared to the city at large, which is closer to $1 million. But can you get a home for close to $1 million here? Yes, you definitely can. There's Dover. We're going to do a quick little U-turn here. Actually, no, I want to take you down and show you the project here on Monmouth. But anyways, back to sales prices. Can you get a home for $1.2 million or $1.3 million here in the Pierpont neighborhood? The answer is yes. It is probably going to be one of those original beach bungalows, you know, 3 bedrooms, 1 bath, maybe 800, 900 square feet. And yes, believe it or not, that is going for 1.2, 1.3. I've seen some go out for 1.4, 1.5 if they are cleaned up and in good condition. And then it goes up from there. If you want a beachfront property, you're going to be spending north of 3 million, maybe even north of 4 million. So right now we're on Monmouth and Harbor, and there was an oil leak here from this Sinclair gas station on the corner 2 years ago, and it leaked into the water supply and also into the sewer line. It did damage to the city sewer line. So actually this corner right behind me, which is right where our In-N-Out Burger is, super popular In-N-Out Burger. I spent many a late night there, you know, Fridays after a school day here in town, hanging out there with friends. But the oil leak did damage to the sewer line, and the city has to now replace that. So they're going to have that intersection, which is a very busy, very popular intersection, especially with that In-N-Out Burger right there, that will be closed this spring moving into the summer. And in fact, they're going to have it closed over the 4th of July holiday, which is not great timing. And that was discussed at a recent meeting, why they chose to have that done over the 4th of July holiday. The person that is going to be doing the work, the contractor, that was the best weekend for them, and they want to get the project done and complete and back together as quickly as they can. So that's the attempt that they're trying to make. We're now back on Seaward. We're going to make the right over here on Pierpont and then go down Dover and check that out. Another really wonderful thing about this neighborhood is we have an elementary school here, Pierpont Elementary. Actually, I've got my little Pierpont Elementary coffee mug. The school is on the beach, and I don't know how many elementary schools in America are on a beach, but ours is, and I think that's really cool and really special. My son is an incoming kindergartner at Pierpont, and I was recently elected to be the vice president of the vice president of sponsorships at Pierpont Elementary. So that's fun. I'm looking forward to that. If you own a small business here in the West County or in Ventura County and you want to advertise at a really great elementary school, get your name up on the banner, give me a call for that. And of course, if you want to buy a home in this neighborhood, give me a call for that as well. I'd love to help you buy or sell. Actually, since we're on the topic, I never talk about this enough, but I donate $1,000 to the Pierpont PTA for every Pierpont family that uses my services to help buy or sell a piece of property. So if you're thinking about that and that matters to you, let me know. I donate that. It's a great PTA. It's a great elementary school, and I love supporting them. Okay, we're going to go walk down Dover Lane and check out 1111 Dover Lane, asking $2,790,000. Let's go check it out. All right, this is what it's like walking down Dover. The beach is obviously here at the end of the lane. You'll see that in a sec. One thing I want to talk about is the Airbnb permitting process. The city of Ventura recently updated their Airbnb ordinance, or as they officially refer to it, their short-term vacation rental ordinance, STVR. And that has restricted the number of permits that they'll issue here in the Pierpont lanes. Specifically in this lanes area, each lane will be capped at 10% of the number of homes on the lane. So if there are 28 homes here on Dover, the highest number of permits that they'll issue are 2. So 10%, and then they round down. So only 2 permits will be issued. Now, there are existing 3 permits on this lane, meaning that if you want to buy on this street with the intention of getting an Airbnb permit and renting that property out as a short-term vacation rental, you're not going to be able to do it. Not until those other permits drop off or they let their permit lapse. And I've got quite a few phone calls about that. and people wanting to Airbnb, but you really got to be plugged in and in tune with what's actually happening because the rules are changing. All right, here's this beautiful home here, 1111, asking 2,790,000. Let's go in and check it out. The Cape Cod exterior of this home is beautiful, and so is the interior. Right off the bat, you have that double height entry. I absolutely love it. We're going to walk into one of the 4 bedrooms, 3 in total on this first level. A lot of the homes here in the Pierpont lanes were built in the 50s and 60s, which means that they have lower ceiling heights and can feel like a cave. Not this one. This was built in 2015, more modern floor plan and more modern ceiling height. There was a nice laundry, plenty of space in there with a window, which is also great for natural light, and the first of 4 bathrooms. That is on theme tiling there in that shower, nice quartz counters for that sink. Another bedroom here. This is bedroom number 2 with a nice slider looking out to the backyard. We'll go out and check that out in just a moment. Nice closets, and we're going to go cruise over to bedroom number 3. 4 bedrooms in total. This one really feels like a master bedroom. It is an ensuite with this dual vanity here. Sorry, I had to flick on those lights. And an oversized shower with a bench. Absolutely love that. And also a door on the powder closet. Super important, especially if you have a partner. If you know, you know. Lots of light. Again, this could feel like a cave, and oftentimes the first level of the homes here in the Pierpont lanes do feel cave-like. There's a lack of windows, there's lower ceiling height. Not this home, and I love that you have this first floor master option. So if you are aging or you're concerned about your hips or your knees or getting up and down stairs, as you enjoy your retirement, this offers a really elegant solution to that. Nice side yard there, clean, landscaping's well taken care of. The backyards here in the lanes, they're not huge. I mean, this is pretty darn standard, and this is what you can expect across most homes. A little fire pit there with a gas line ran to it, which means you are not going to be fussing with your propane tanks. Also a plus. We don't get a lot of rain here, but it's nice to see downspouts, which indicates that we've got gutters on this house, so we're not going to be as worried about when we do get those few rain events, and they seem to be getting more and more intense each year. Okay, back to the entry, little peek out the street to the neighbors across the way. Let's go ahead and head on up. Love these wood floors. I believe that this is an engineered wood, but it's absolutely gorgeous. Okay, here we are. There's Deborah, my colleague. Shout out Deborah. This is her listing. Okay, main living space. Here's your living room with that fireplace. She just flicked the switch on there for us. Looking down the hall. Let's go out to this little patio space here. Now, this is the 5th home back from the sand, and you still have these exceptional ocean views. So it's just a short stroll down to the beach and the waves. And I want to point out this tongue and groove ceiling up here. Little detail, often overlooked, just makes this home feel so charming and luxurious, but not in a pretentious kind of way. More of the white shaker cabinets. We saw these downstairs, also in the laundry room. They continued these gray quartz countertops up. We've got a Bertazzoni range, an LG refrigerator. They said that these cabinets were custom. A little peekaboo view there of the ocean as well. Right here from the dining room. Now I'm going to take you out to this little balcony, and the lanes, lots are smaller, and you are closer to your neighbors than in other neighborhoods or other parts of town. So you really don't want to buy a home that has a neighbor with a stinker backyard. Something that's just overgrown or ugly, or it's a junk pit. You can see the neighbors' backyards from here. They're all well kept. They're all clean. That could change, obviously, but you don't want to be buying something that has a neighbor with a really ratty yard. That would not be fun to look at. Okay, here's that Bertazzoni range. That's an Italian brand. And your little hood there, tile backsplash. Okay, let's go check out the 4th and final bedroom. Okay, we're kind of moving into it right now. Look that out. Look at that. High ceilings, vaulted ceiling. It's a wonderful space for a little desk there. And you have a walk-in closet. And we're gonna go take a peek at this bathroom. Now, there is only one sink on this bedroom. So if you have to have a dual vanity, you're gonna probably be in that first floor master. But again, beautifully updated, remodeled shower there, plenty of space. Closet's a nice size too. And we're gonna go cruise over to what is the fourth and final bath. This is actually just a half bath. This is what your guests will be using if you're entertaining in your kitchen or out on that front patio space. Okay, laundry chute. Just for fun, let's look up. Okay, that's what's going on in there. I didn't want to get the questions after the fact of show us inside the chute. There's the chute. Okay, this is pretty much the house, and I'm going to take you outside to get a look at the ocean at the end of the lane. Very pretty house. We're going to go walk to the end of the lane. I was rambling a little bit earlier on that Airbnb permitting process, but each neighborhood in Ventura has been restricted on the total number of permits that they'll issue, and there are special additional rules here in the Pierpont lanes. I will put a link to the new set of rules in the description of this video. You might be wondering what this is. This is a pump station managed by the city of Ventura. But the short-term vacation rentals, final thing on that, there's currently a moratorium on new permits being issued citywide. That moratorium will be lifted once the Coastal Commission finally adopts our new ordinance that we passed. And that's expected to happen by December 1st, at which point moratorium will be lifted and they'll issue new permits, assuming that your neighborhood or your street isn't currently maxed out. So now we're looking up to the north. That's towards the pier, the Crown Plaza, Surfers Point, BC Fairgrounds. Can't believe the fair is going to be here already. Feels like it's just around the corner. And slow pan, looking towards the islands. And down our beach towards the seaward. We did a little bit of a tour at the end of Seaward earlier. And our harbor. You can see our breakwater there at the harbor mouth. This is looking back north, down the lane, down Dover, towards our hillsides. Okay, that's it. Hopefully you guys like this. If you want to come tour that property in person, give me a shout. I'll leave all my contact information down below in the description. See you soon.